Please subscribe to my channel and like my video. Thank you for your support. Loneliness in the shadows. Nina was accustomed to being alone at home during her husband Sam's night shifts. Sam worked as a police officer and often had to work night shifts. However, this time, Nina felt the loneliness and silence of being alone at home more deeply. The small sounds coming from every corner of the house made her hair stand on end. One night, while Sam was on duty, Nina was reading a book in the bedroom when she suddenly felt a cold breeze. The windows were closed and there was no wind outside. The bedroom door slowly opened and Nina saw that there was nothing behind it. This event unsettled Nina, but she convinced herself it was just a draft. The next night, while Nina was making tea in the kitchen, she began hearing strange noises from within the house. There were creaks, whispers, and footsteps as if someone was moving from room to room. Nina started to search the house to find the source of the sounds, but found nothing. Everything seemed normal, but she had a strong feeling that something was wrong. As the nights passed, Nina's sleep turned into nightmares. Every night, she had the same dream. A dark figure was watching her, and the more she tried to escape, the closer the figure got. She woke up in a cold sweat, feeling even more alone in Sam's absence. When Nina told Sam about what she was experiencing, Sam thought it was due to stress and loneliness. He tried to spend more time with her, but his shifts made it difficult. Nina also told her friends and neighbors about what she was experiencing, but no one believed her. Everyone thought Nina was losing her mind. One night, while watching TV, Nina saw something move out of the corner of her eye. When she turned, there was nothing there. However, she felt a chill in the room and her hair stood on end. This feeling made her constantly think she was not alone in the house. Nina constantly felt like she was being watched when she was alone at home. Strange shadows in the mirrors and whispers from behind the curtains started driving her crazy. Every time she tried to find a logical explanation, she couldn't shake the feeling. Nina tried to find the source of the noises coming from every corner of the house at night. One night, she heard a noise coming from the basement. Gathering her courage, she went down to the basement and found nothing. However, she noticed an old dusty toy box. The toys inside seemed to belong to a child who had disappeared years ago. After finding the toy box, Nina started to investigate the history of the house. One of the previous owners had lost their child, and this loss had driven them mad. This information helped Nina make sense of what she was experiencing, but it also scared her even more. Nina called a paranormal investigator to better understand what she was experiencing. The investigator felt a strong energy in the house and said that this energy was somehow trapped there. The investigator suggested that there might be a curse on the house. Sam, despite not believing in what Nina was experiencing, decided to skip a few night shifts to help his wife feel better. However, even on the nights Sam was home, Nina continued to hear the same strange sounds and feel the same eerie presence. This situation started to unsettle Sam as well. One night, while Nina was sleeping in the bedroom, she saw a figure among the shadows. The figure did not directly communicate with her, but was constantly hovering around her. This feeling disturbed Nina even more and led to sleepless nights. Nina gathered with her friends to talk about what she was experiencing. However, her friends thought it was just stress caused by loneliness and tried to support her. These visits provided Nina some relief, but the occurrences continued. Nina started finding strange marks in various places around the house. Handprints appearing on the walls, scratches on the floor, and an old note found on the kitchen table. These marks clearly indicated that something was wrong in the house. Nina installed a security camera to document what was happening in the house. The camera recorded strange shadows and movements inside the house throughout the night. These recordings served as evidence of Nina's experiences, but still no one believed her. Nina began to struggle psychologically due to what she was experiencing. She couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, and was constantly living in a state of anxiety. Sam felt sorry for his wife's condition and tried to support her, but his shifts kept him from being with her constantly. One night, while Nina was sitting in the kitchen, she felt a presence behind her. When she turned around, she saw no one, but the atmosphere in the house had suddenly changed. She felt a cold breath and heard a whisper, "Find me." Nina started researching more to find a solution to what she was experiencing. She contacted a medium, and the medium suggested some rituals to cleanse the house's energy. However, these rituals did not end Nina's experiences. The medium visited Nina's house and began performing the rituals. She burned incense and recited prayers to cleanse the house's energy. However, during the ritual, strange events occurred inside the house, and the medium stated that there was a very strong presence in the house. Nina wanted to escape from the house due to what she was experiencing, but Sam thought the situation was temporary and there was no need to abandon their home. However, Nina was deteriorating every day, and her fears were increasing. Nina contacted one of the house's previous owners and learned more about its history. The former owner said they had moved out because of the events that had happened and that these events had driven them to the brink of madness. One night, while Nina was sleeping in the bedroom, she found a note on her nightstand. The note read, "Find me and you will find peace." This note could be a clue to solving what she was experiencing. Following the clue in the note, Nina went down to the basement again. In the basement, she found a hidden door she hadn't noticed before. When she opened the door, she encountered a dark and cold room. This room belonged to the missing child, and she found many old toys and photographs there. Through an old diary found in the basement room, Nina learned the story of the missing child. The child had disappeared within the house and was never found again. This event had driven the child's mother mad. As Nina moved around the house, she began to feel the presence of the child's mother's ghost. The mother's ghost was constantly hovering around Nina, trying to convey a message to her. However, understanding this message was difficult. Nina called a paranormal investigator again to better understand what she was experiencing. The investigator felt a strong energy in the house and said that this energy was somehow trapped there. The investigator suggested that there might be a curse on the house. Despite not believing in what Nina was experiencing, Sam decided to skip a few night shifts to help his wife feel better. However, even on the nights Sam was home, Nina continued to hear the same strange sounds and feel the same eerie presence. This situation started to unsettle Sam as well. One night, while Nina was sleeping in the bedroom, she saw a figure among the shadows. The figure did not directly communicate with her, but was constantly hovering around her. This feeling disturbed Nina even more and led to sleepless nights. Nina started researching more to find a solution to what she was experiencing. She contacted a medium, and the medium suggested some rituals to cleanse the house's energy. However, these rituals did not end Nina's experiences. The medium returned to Nina's house and performed rituals again. This time, she used stronger incantations and purifying herbs. During the ritual, strange occurrences increased, and the medium warned Nina that the entity in the house was becoming more restless. Nina Ray read the diary she found in the basement and discovered a hidden message. The child had mentioned a special toy that held the key to finding peace. Nina searched the basement and found an old teddy bear with a note stitched inside it. The note inside the teddy bear contained instructions to a hidden room within the house. Nina followed the directions and uncovered a small room behind a bookcase. Inside, she found a box with old letters and photographs that revealed the tragic story of the child's disappearance. Nina started to feel the presence of the ghost more intensely. The ghost seemed to be pleading with her to uncover the truth and set it free. Nina realized that finding the child's body was crucial to bringing peace to the house. Nina convinced Sam to help her search the house one last time. They went through every room, searching for any hidden compartments or clues. Finally, in the attic, they found a trapdoor leading to a small, sealed-off space. In the hidden room, they found the remains of the child, along with more letters explaining the events leading to the child's death. The letters revealed that the child had accidentally fallen and died, and the mother had hidden the body out of grief and fear. Nina and Sam performed a final ritual with the help of the medium to cleanse the house and set the spirits free. They buried the child's remains in a proper grave, hoping to bring closure to the restless spirits. After the final ritual, the house felt different. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and Nina no longer felt the presence of the ghost. She and Sam began to rebuild their lives, finding peace in the knowledge that they had helped bring closure to a tragic story. News of the events in Nina's house spread, and it became a local legend. People talked about the haunted house and the brave couple who had faced the spirits. Nina and Sam embraced their new lives, but never forgot the experiences they had gone through. One night, Nina found an old key on her doorstep, similar to the one she had found earlier. She realized that the past might not be entirely over, and that there could be more secrets left to uncover. Nina and Sam returned to the old house one last time, driven by curiosity and a sense of duty. They discovered another hidden compartment in the basement, revealing the final piece of the puzzle. The ghost of the mother appeared, silently thanking them before finally disappearing into the light. The house, now free from its haunted past, stood as a testament to the enduring power of truth and courage. The beginning of loneliness. 10-year-old Edwards often stayed home alone due to his parents' busy work schedules. They lived in a large old house in a quiet town in Illinois. His parents had placed a small night light in his room to make him feel safe. However, Edwards always had a sense of unease deep inside. The old structure of the house and the strange noises at night only intensified his fears. One night, while alone, Edwards opened his computer and started browsing the internet. His parents allowed him to use the internet for schoolwork, but one of the things that piqued Edwards' interest was spells and ancient rituals. His curiosity led him into dark corners and unknown realms. He found a website that explained how to perform spells and started reading. Edwards didn't have the materials needed to try a spell, but he muttered a few words he learned from the internet. That night, he began hearing strange noises in the house. At first, he attributed these to the wind or mice, but his fear continued to grow. Late at night, the creaks and rustling sounds from every corner of the house made it difficult for him to sleep. As the noises increased, Edwards began to feel even more alone. He sensed that something was wrong in the house, but he couldn't quite figure out what it was. When he woke up at night, he thought he saw dark shadows in the corners of his room. Once, he thought he saw a dark figure standing by his slightly open bedroom door. When he turned on the light, there was no one there. Edward's parents noticed that he was scared at night, but they thought it was just normal childhood fears. They took extra safety measures to comfort him, added locks to the doors, and got him another night light. However, they struggled to understand the source of Edward's fear. One night, Edwards mustered up the courage to return to his computer. This time, he started researching deeper and darker spells. His research led him to increasingly dangerous places. What Edwards didn't know was that these spells could be truly dangerous. He decided to try one of the spells he read about and quietly muttered it at midnight. After repeating a spell he had read earlier, the feeling of unease in the house intensified. Edwards, sitting alone in his room, felt a cold breath on his neck. He looked around in fear but saw no one. The air around him suddenly felt heavy, and he found it hard to breathe. Edwards no longer had peaceful sleep. Every night, he had terrifying nightmares. In these nightmares, dark entities chased him, trying to catch him. When he woke up, his room felt colder and more gloomy than ever. He felt as if something was moving under his bed. Strange things started happening in the house. Objects were moving, and lights were flickering on and off by themselves. Edwards felt that he was no longer alone, but he couldn't understand what these entities were or why they were disturbing him. One day, he found an old book in his room, and its pages began turning on their own. One night, while Edwards was sitting in his room, his computer suddenly shut down. In the reflection on the screen, he saw a dark figure standing behind him. When he blinked, the figure was gone. Edwards, trembling with fear, hid under his blanket. That night, he heard whispering voices in the dark. Edwards' parents noticed that he was awake and scared at night. When they asked him what was going on, Edwards could only say, "Something is watching me." His parents thought it was just a childhood fear and did their best to comfort him. However, the fear in Edwards' eyes began to worry them as well. One morning, Edwards found a piece of paper on his desk filled with strange symbols. These symbols were from the spells he had researched online. Edwards didn't know how they got there, but his fear grew even more. As he examined the paper, he realized he didn't understand the meaning of the words written on it. Edwards constantly felt things moving in the house when he was alone. When he moved from one room to another, he felt as if someone was behind him. However, when he turned around, there was no one. This increased his paranoia. The presence he felt in his room was becoming more intense. One night, while Edwards was lying in his bed, he heard whispering voices in his room. The voices were muttering incomprehensible words, and Edwards couldn't find the source of these sounds. He hid under his blanket, waiting for morning. The whispering voices seemed to be trying to tell him something, but he couldn't understand what it was. Edwards could no longer bear the situation and decided to tell his parents everything. He told them about his research on spells and the strange occurrences at home. His parents took the situation seriously and decided to seek help from a specialist. What Edwards told them deeply affected them. The family called a paranormal specialist to investigate the strange occurrences in the house. After conducting his research, the specialist confirmed that there was indeed an entity in the house. This entity had been summoned due to Edward's spells. The specialist's explanations terrified the family. The specialist explained to Edwards and his family how this entity had appeared and why it was disturbing them. Edward's spells had accidentally summoned a dark spirit. This spirit was feeding off Edward's fears. The specialist said that the entity was growing stronger and that it would be difficult to resolve the situation. The specialist began performing rituals to drive the spirit away from the house. The family worked together with the specialist to cleanse the negative energy in the house. However, this process was very frightening for Edwards. Strange events continued to happen during the rituals, further intensifying Edward's fears. During the rituals, the strange events in the house intensified. Edwards had to stay awake at night and constantly felt the presence of dark entities in his room. This situation negatively affected his mental health. One night, lamps exploding and objects moving around his bedroom deepened his fears even more. The specialist decided to perform one last ritual to completely banish the dark spirit from the house. This ritual was extremely challenging and dangerous. The family had to work together with the specialist to complete this process. Late at night, the specialist chanted the final spell, and the house fell into silence. After the final ritual, the strange events in the house gradually decreased. Edwards was able to sleep more peacefully. However, the terrifying moments he experienced had left deep scars on him. As he walked through the house, he still felt like someone was watching him, but this feeling was slowly diminishing. The family tried to return to their normal lives. Edwards made an effort to forget the terrifying moments he had experienced. His parents spent more time with him and tried to make him feel safe. As they spent more time together as a family, the atmosphere in the house became more peaceful. Edwards could not completely forget what he had experienced. He still sometimes woke up at night and felt that something was watching him in the dark. However, this fear gradually began to diminish. Edwards started seeing a therapist and worked on overcoming his traumatic experiences by talking about them. This process strengthened the bonds within the family. With the support of his parents, Edwards managed to overcome his fears. The family better appreciated the time they spent together. His parents continued to do everything they could to ensure Edwards' safety. Edwards learned a lesson from the terrifying events he had experienced and decided never to research anything about spells again. He turned a new page in his life, continuing in a more peaceful and happy way. The atmosphere in the house was much brighter and more cheerful than before. After this experience, Edwards became a more mature and stronger individual. Together with his family, he made new beginnings, looking to the future with hope. Although the traces of the past remained in his memory, he was now braver and more determined. As he continued with his life, he never forgot the lessons the terrifying events had taught him. One night, while the family was peacefully asleep, the atmosphere in the house changed once again. A cold breeze blew through Edwards' room, and his lamp flickered. When Edwards noticed this, his heart started to race. The whispering voices in the dark returned. Edwards, this time braver, tried to find the source of the voices. He searched every corner of the house but found nothing. These mysterious events caused him to be afraid again. When he told his parents about the situation, they took it seriously and decided to consult the specialist again. When the specialist returned to the house, he tried to understand why the events had started again. His research revealed that the dark spirit had not completely left and was still hiding somewhere in the house. This was a great shock for the family. One night, while the specialist was performing rituals, he suddenly collapsed. The family, panicking, called an ambulance, but the specialist died on the spot. This mysterious death deeply shook the family. After the specialist's death, the events in the house intensified, and Edwards continued to live his greatest fears. The family decided to move out, hoping to leave this nightmare behind. However, Edwards never forgot the terrifying experiences he had and carried the scars of these events throughout his life.